Oh my God. Hi, guys. I'm trying to figure out. Hold on a minute. There we go. Oh my God. Hi, guys. This is crazy. Hold on. I have a YouTube. Hold on a minute. I screwed the pooch on that. I'm here. I cannot believe I did that. I had like 10,000 sessions. Can everybody hear me? Everybody? Okay, cool. So I had 10,000 sessions. So I am so sorry, but welcome to Mindforked, you guys. I'm so sorry I botched it, but hopefully we can just go uphill from here because that's how I like to see it. We're just going uphill. So welcome to the second Mindforked. I'm so excited. I'm sorry that I botched the music because I wanted to bring up that if you like the music, and if you had heard it right, if you like the music, you can hang out with us because later on in the show, Lee from First Floor Audio, the author of Incognito, will be with us live. I can't believe I get a musical guest. I'm so excited. On top of that, we got a whole group of guys backstage ready to go. So I wanted to first say hi to the chat. Oh, by the way, check it out. I am wearing that one time I was abducted t-shirt, and I'm all merched out with Unidentified is for Phone. I'm thinking about doing like Akashi's favorite things, like a show all about my favorite merch. Like I'll just cover myself, with merch because I mean, especially like I heard that Toriwaba has some new items featuring Chad Smith in some hanging out clothing, behind, backstage. So we'll have to hear about that from Spooky and Chad sometime. So anyway, that's a private joke for the people who listen to Chad Smith podcast. And we have Spooky Morales backstage waiting to jump on this thing. So I'm going to start bringing the guys in. Actually, let's say hi to chat first. Who's in the chat? Carnundrum, I see you. Hold on. Boop, boop, boop. Chatties. Enzo. How you doing, Enzo? I'm trying to pop up my Lynn. So in the chat today, we have tons of mods. So my Bluefon sisters are in the chat. That's Alien Girl 111 and Lynn Wallington Hurley, which says Lynn Hurley now. Now it's like I can't keep up with this girl. She keeps changing her name. And Chad Smith, and I don't know who else is deputized at this point, but we got a ton, and I'm just gonna start adding wrenches. So I see awesome Unidentified as Force here with us. Spooky Morales is backstage. Sarah, honey, hi. Jeanette, you guys are so cool. Molly Christine, I love Sunday morning readings with Molly and Chad. They're awesome. So I already said hi to Unidentified as 4. Exploring with Fluffy. Hi, Exploring with Fluffy. Fluffy sounds fun. BS Detector. Love it. I always wanted to say, hi, BS Detector. How you doing? Hopefully you won't find BS. So we'll see. And then Hurley, I would say, oh my God, Anonymous Rex, Tim Senor's here. He was here for our first show. So I got Terry backstage, Tim. He's ready to go. He's taking care of the animals, but it's all ready now. So Haley, Wild Ascension, hi. Earth and Water Tarot. Hi, darlings. And let's see. I'm so sorry if I missed somebody, but Greg O'Brien, bud, how you doing? So glad that you're here. Jim never vomits at home. He did that so I can do that line because I always do the airplane lines with him. It was like, he never has a second cup of coffee at home. Jim never vomits at home. That's for you, Greg. You're gonna have to get back to me with, like, I mean, that's when, StreamYard, we'll do something. It'll be fun. Alrighty. So, John P. Adventures. Hi. And Oracles. Cassie. How you doing, Cassie? She's the voice of an angel, that one. She's just like ASMR UFO. It is so awesome. So, I have a full agenda. So, first of all, that was Lee in the intro. Second, one of the things in Mindforked that I really always wanted when I first created this channel is to make sure that we profile the artist, whether it's like, art, like in drawing or painting, or a musical artist. So that's why we have a musical guest today. So open casting call. If you or anyone else knows someone who wants to perform live on a YouTube show about UFOs, you can DM me. Ping me, and we'll be happy to set that up, as well as artists looking to showcase their work. So I'll have a new UFOCM preview at the end of the show to share with you. So we'll get to that. Also, did I say that today, in lieu of buying me coffee, we are going to be supporting our special guest project, the Magic Mesa. So I'm going to be putting the links out there throughout the show, so you can Venmo to support, and he's going to do a presentation and show you guys, what this is all about, because me and Spooky are obsessed. So without further ado, first of all, I'm going to bring them one at a time. I start with the Cosmic Counselor, Terry Hall. Hi, Terry.
Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you today?
It's going to be so cool. Terry and I have a little surprise planned. It's like a little show and tell. So we'll do that later in the show. So it's going to be so awesome. Second, we got Mr. Ghost Spooky from Chad Smith Podcast, and one of the most beautiful souls I've ever met. He's just like one of those beautiful people inside and out. It's like the energy off of this guy is amazing. And I am predicting that him and Carl the Crusher will have like a total bromance by the end of the show. That is my prediction. Mommy Krista Damas Quatrains predicts a bromance coming. And here he is, Spooky Morales. Woo!
What's up?
I don't have like
Kashi?
ongoing music, but I don't need it. I just kind of go. Curious George just joined. Hi, Curious. Okay.
Hey, Terry.
And
hey, Spooky.
last but not least, our special guest. I met this guy, and I gotta say one thing before I bring him on. He took the time. He was in the middle of a conference, and I wanted to talk about Göbekli Tepe because I love Göbekli Tepe so much, and that's all I want to ever talk about. And he took the time. He could have been hanging out with Heineck. He could have been hanging out with a lot of other people, but he took like almost half an hour. It was awesome to sit down with me, talk like symbology, and I'm just super just excited to have him, and so blessed, Mr. Carl the Crusher.
Thank
you. Now I have to figure out how to move you. There we go. Carl the Crusher.
Thank you.
Thank
yeah,
you
when
so
we weren't
much.
hanging out, I was trying to hold Spooky's hand behind the bleachers the whole time because we've been hiding our bromance actually quite a while. You guys don't even know. You guys don't even know how deep it goes between me and Spooky.
It's gonna. I predict.
Chris, we should have got him so we could all be matching.
Oh my God, matchy. Terry,
yeah,
you're
send me a shirt.
Cody Waba. Jamie, if she's
Blind
out
frog.
there, Cody Waba. I am wearing Cody Waba.
Good.
So listen, everybody always tells me in the chat, they always tell me I'm either too loud or way too quiet. So everybody needs to tell me in the comments if my volume's good or not. So
I think I.
Oh, your volume's great.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I think it's great, but I think I project like Broadway. So if I'm too loud, I'm sure they'll tell me.
Sounds good.
My blind frog shirt's special because Carl signed it. Ew.
Super special.
My notebook's special because Carl drew drawings. You know, symbology. He was
Carl
like
does a lot
drawing.
more than that.
Was I drawing Gobekli Tepe drawings?
And there's Lee. I can't wait to see you, Lee, in a little while. You're gonna perform live for the group. Some jams, Sunday jams. So tell us, Carl. So first of all, Spooky and I are huge fans of this project. And like I said earlier, I got to meet you in Vernal. And I watched your presentation, and I thought it was one of the best parts of the weekend, to tell you the truth. I mean, everything was great, but I really, really did enjoy your particular presentation because it kind of solidifies some things to me. I mean, we've seen some stuff at Skinwalker that now we're seeing, at your location, as well as, a lot of the petroglyph connection. And I'm all about ancients. I think the answers are underneath us. So I'd love to hear about where you've been lately, where the project's at. You got momentum. What's going on? Talk to me, Carl.
There's a lot going on. I just spent the last week, basically. I got home a couple of days ago up in the Uinta Basin with James Keenan and Chris Bartell, and going around and exploring kind of a larger theory regarding Skinwalker Ranch and the area up around the Blind Frog Ranch research location, and how it all connects with some of the underground caves possibly, and how the phenomena might be tapping into that or utilizing it, or if it has anything to do with it whatsoever, because it definitely has to do with the oral traditions of the Native Americans and some of the forbidden history, that has to do with maybe alien contact with humankind, or myths about giants and little people and all kinds of folklore. When you get into it, it's kind of crazy. But you hear that kind of stuff expands actually all over the world. There just seems to be a focal point for some reason up there in the Uinta Basin, because there's been some actual government-funded research that's gone on up there, specifically at Skinwalker Ranch. And that's really intriguing and confusing to start looking into all the layers of that and how much of that, research is involved. But yeah, you see a similar kind of like a glowing light phenomena on the mesa there at Skinwalker Ranch, and you hear the talk of there being portals, in the early days in the Bigelow era, with creatures crawling out and different kinds of stuff like that, along with UFO sightings and orbs and all sorts of paranormal things. The whole mix, where it's not anymore just like UFOs in the sky, but all the paranormal stuff happening down on the ground as well, including dogmen, werewolves, and all kinds of stuff. So it makes you wonder what the heck is going on, But I was really just kind of watching TV one day, and I was watching an episode of Ancient Aliens. It was just flipping around, and there was all these photos they were slide showing of these supposed extraterrestrials depicted on these petroglyphs and pictographs. And I realized that all the ones that they were referencing were like in Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico. And I was like, that's like right where I live. It's like all right around me. I've never gone out and looked at any of these. And so I decided to go check it out for myself and start going to the ones near my house. And there was a lot. There's a ton of really bizarre petroglyphs. And the first thing that I noticed, guys, was that like on the brochures and stuff, they just put like a petroglyph of a goat or like an antelope. So you're like, oh, you go hike 5 miles to see a petroglyph of an antelope. Big deal. Like, who's going to do that in the middle of the summer? But I see all these pictures and I'm like, there's got to be more out there that they're not really letting out, So I got curious, and so I went on some of these hikes, and lo and behold, when you go past the billy goats and you look around, there's some really bizarre petroglyphs and strange stuff. And a lot of it can start to look like a map, or like it has arrows pointing off, and like almost like clues. And then there's layers and layers of that go into when the clear back to the Aztec Empire, all the way up to, or even before that, maybe. I've seen some carvings that look like they're paleo, clear back to when they were hunting mammoths and stuff. So who knows? But all the way up to like when the Spaniards came, and the conquistadors, they tried to enslave the Native Americans and take over their mining operations, and so they even carved symbols all over the top of the petroglyphs about where they hid treasures and stuff. So there's so much going on. I got really hooked and curious on it. And yeah, just one particular area really intrigued me a lot. And I was having some interesting experiences sitting up there and meditating by these petroglyphs, trying to understand them. And that sort of, long story short, led me down this rabbit hole where I wound up at the foot of this mesa that had this strange paranormal stuff occurring, or lights appearing on the side of it and on top of it and around on the ground. And I've been there 7 times now, and 4 out of the 7 times I've been able to film it on camera. So it's very odd.
It's crazy that you can replicate it. So you were talking about, I know a little bit more about your background, and I know that Spooky's into this too. So you've been doing like consciousness, a lot of meditation. That's something that's like part of your daily. Is this something that's been with you all along, or did you start doing it after you got interested? It's like chicken or the egg. How did you get there from that?
Yeah, kind of honestly, like 7 years ago, I was a member of the Mormon church my whole life. I grew up raised as a member of the LDS church. I went on a mission, did all of that stuff. So my entire concept of how I even saw reality and everything was through that, how I was raised in that belief system. And so after I kind of like sort of unraveled some of that and decided that organized religion wasn't for me, I still had all these spiritual experiences in my life that I wanted to understand, and still felt like a person that wanted to understand the universe and reality and what's really going on. So that led me down the path of getting into meditation and different other philosophies and spiritual methods and ideas, trying to understand, where my belief systems came from as a Mormon, but also maybe like what is true. So that kind of left everything out on the table, like what is real, what's going to happen when I die, and is there a God or an afterlife, is there extraterrestrials or not, is there ghosts or spirits. And the whole thing just kind of came unraveled for me, like 7 years ago. And I have this unique opportunity working from home full-time as an independent filmmaker and YouTuber to just kind of jump down that rabbit hole and explore it. And so that's what I've been doing really heavily since probably just over the last year. I've really dedicated to it almost full-time.
That's fantastic. So Spooky, if you guys want to jump in at any point, this is a hangout. We're like super casual. We're not like a major panel. We're just kind of hanging out and have the opportunity to talk to Carl. If you got to jump in, if you've got some questions along the way. Otherwise,
I just wanted to start. One of the first things I wanted to say, Carl, was, hey man, thank you so much for being with us today. It's such an honor, bro. I'm just a huge fan of the work you're doing. A couple of days ago, I was checking out some of your older videos. I think it might have been on the Carl Vibe channel, where you were talking about some of the experiences you had when you were young, very young. Yeah. And it totally resonated with me, man, because I was the same way. This started for me around the age of 7, when I almost died from problems with a surgery I'd had. And I just really resonated with me, you being so willing to share your stories. And I recommend anyone that would like to know more about Carl than just petroglyphs and the stuff he's doing right now, with getting to know him a little bit and understand that this is not something that he just started right now. This is a lifetime in the making.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem, bro. And then as far as the work that's going on right now at the Magic Mesa, man, that video that you posted last night was killer. I mean, I thought we had seen everything with the light show on the Mesa, but then last night, the video, there was some new stuff that I hadn't seen, those shadow figures running across the Mesa. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to see it, but it will send chills down your spine. You've got to see it. To me, it's better than anything I've seen on Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I wish I did. That's how I'm trying to do this in the right way, to where I get the information out there, but also protect the location so it doesn't get contaminated and overrun, because there is, thousands of years of historical artifacts just laying all over the ground out there. And if people go there, it would be a tragedy to just even walk across it the wrong way. And so,
do you have one of Jim's Simovans detectors that you take out there with you?
No, I haven't.
The EMP?
Not yet.
Gamma ray?
I just ordered one, which is kind of cool. Just today, through Chris Lato's UAP project that they're doing for NFTs. I'm an ambassador for that project. I actually just sold my first NFT through his program today.
Oh, right on,
and
dude.
so,
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I was able to order my first EMP, or not EMP, but EMF detector and all that stuff right now. So I can scan for the electromagnetic field and radiation a lot better. James Keenan and Jim, they both recommended the exact device to order until I can get one of their bigger, MUPOS devices that actually scans everything.
I've got a few other people that's kind of gotten bitten by the basin bug and want to go explore. So you'll be seeing me out there come before too long.
Heck yeah.
I think it's something about that area. I mean, when we were there, I mean, obviously, even Lynn just had to get married in the pool rather than all the plans that we had because she was just so compelled once it blind frog. So anyway, so tell us a little bit more about, keep going with the Mesa, because I'm going to look up, you want me to pull up the one from last night? I'll go wherever you want to go with this, Carl.
Well, just whatever questions everybody has. I'm so steeped in it because, like even just 2 nights ago, I went, took my brother there. We saw the lights again. I filmed more footage, and then we had a whole bunch of other stuff occur to where in trying to find the words to explain it to my brother, kind of what was going on, I can't even remember. What did I call it even in the pre-show? Amplified coincidence. Is that what it is? Amplified coincidence.
That's what you called it, yeah.
Amplified coincidence events, where you feel like the amount of coincidences occurring and like weird things get over the top, to where back to back to back, almost like what you're saying, something is listening to in your environment is responding to you actively, and it got very weird.
Well, see, that's the thing is, I've said this often enough that we just don't have the vocabulary. And we're building this vocabulary for this stuff. It's like rebranding CE5 was something as simple as human-initiated contact, which is what it is. It makes it sound, I mean, at least you're understanding it that way. And that's the problem that a lot of people have, is we try to explain this stuff and we just don't have the words for it.
Yeah, and it's hard to describe too, because we already do have a lot of jargon and words for it, but it's really miscategorized, or it's been taken over by other groups that already have agendas around it and certain things, and they're territorial about those words and how they're used.
Amen to that.
You have to try and crack through it and really explain what's going on from a different perspective as it's happening. And that's part of why I'm doing a lot of the meditation work, is not so much just to jump into all of these different experimental methods, but to know myself and to stay grounded, because when stuff starts to unfold, you have to question some of the characters are involved around some of these locations. If you go back in the early days of the Bigelow era, are tied right to MK Ultra, so you wonder, and they're laser physicists, so you wonder how much your head's getting messed with in certain places. So even at just that level, I want to stay clear when I go into environments that are supposedly paranormal, or where UFOs are heightened, or there could be some strange geology. I want to know myself first, so I'm always skeptical. Even if I see something, I'm always like questioning it, and I want to capture the data so that we can figure out exactly what it is, rather than just use the.
Well, I'll come get grounded with you and share my energy. No problem there.
Yeah,
Carl, you do feel a conscious connection to the phenomena on the Mesa when you're meditating and CE5 practice?
Yeah, and honestly, the whole environment at times when it gets really heightened, and I don't know if that's, again, the chicken or the egg thing, is that like a relationship between the phenomena, like sort of draws out the human consciousness and awareness and potential, so suddenly we're aware of a lot more that's going on around us than normal? Mm-hmm. Or is it the phenomenon itself trying to reach out in some form of communication? I don't know. I still have a million questions about it, but I do feel like there's kind of there is an interaction going on that I can't explain. And I'll give you an example of what, when I talked about the amplified coincidence events, right? Mm-hmm. So just the other night, we're like in this one strange area where there's like this circle of reeds growing in the valley and then nowhere else. Just like it's almost like a ring of bamboo that's totally out of place in the state of in Utah. It doesn't make any sense. And we're walking in the middle of this ring, and it feels really surreal when you go in there. Like the air pressure is just different, and the humidity in the air. And my brother's like, he's like, you know, it's actually really kind of peaceful right here. And right as he's saying that, there's like this loud screech up in the bushes behind us. And then something like runs through the trees, like around, circles around us. And there's nothing there. You know, there's nothing there. But it's the coincidence of like the fact that he was just saying how peaceful it is, right? That then all this stuff like swirls around, like, and then again later I'm like standing with my hand on this barbed wire fence, and I'm not pulling on it. I'm just standing there like with my hand on it while we're talking, and I'm like, you know, and I'm trying to explain like how the phenomenon interacts like that, and I'm right in the middle of saying, you know, as many times as I've been here now, I've never actually had anything bad happen. And right as I'm saying the word happen, the barbed wire like snaps and curls back and almost hits me in the face. And I'm like, whoa, like right in the middle of saying that. It's like, it's so bizarre, man. I don't know. And it would just be a coincidence, except for it's like amplified coincidence events one after the other for like 4 hours straight. It's almost like that this idea of the trickster element like gets amplified. What you're saying and talking about, your whole environment around you turns into almost like a haunted house or something if you're not careful. So
might I offer that earlier you said there's nothing there. Well, maybe there's nothing there that you can see with the naked eye.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you don't see anything. You don't see anything, but you definitely feel like, wow, like something's here messing with us.
I've talked to a lot of people out there who definitely say it feels like you're interacting with a trickster.
Yeah.
Somehow.
And here's what's weird though, because I understand that, and this is where the terminology, you have to be careful, because how much of it is just the amplifying our own telepathy and our own interaction with reality or something in a weird way, and we're the ones doing it. Because think about it, like, this is why meditation and all that stuff is important, and I try to do lucid dreaming and everything, because it becomes like a clue. Because even when you're dreaming at night, that can happen. Like if you're like, oh man, I hope I don't fall down the stairs, then usually what happens in the dream is that like perpetuates, because the dream is so interactive with your own subconscious on the fly. You know, like if you're like, man, I hope a monster doesn't come up the basement and get me, and you're dreaming, then a lot of times just thinking about it turns the dream into kind of a nightmare. So I almost wonder if that's more what's going on than there's really like the boogeyman. It might be more like an amplification of human evolution or something that we don't fathom yet. I don't know. I have a million questions. I'm just
brilliant theories, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to circle around all of it with an open mind, but still really skeptical before I just like am convinced of something, you know, because.
And that's one of the things I try to encourage people when they, you know, there was some talk about Carl, the Crusher was coming on Mindforked, and, you know, there were the comments in the chat the other day, and I was thinking to myself, if people could just, you know, give him a little bit of credit for this alone. He doesn't tell you what he thinks it is. He doesn't tell you what it is. He just gives you a whole lot of different things that it possibly could be. And that's one of the things I've noticed about your shows.
I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know. Like it could be anything from a geological thing. It could be some sort of, I got recommended to me that it might be satellite systems that scan for tectonic movement or geology, and somehow the mesa is revealing layers of that infrared scan going on from satellite systems. So I'm like, maybe. That's a good theory. I don't know how that ties into all the Native American ritual stuff that seems to be there for thousands of years that also lines up with it. That's weird. I don't know why it's at this petroglyph site. That's weird. There's so many things like that. And then the other experiences, I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of questions, which is why I'm just trying to like get it out there, but also protect the area, and then continue to get a better team and better equipment together so that I can continue to debunk all the different ideas until we figure out what it is.
Well, all I know is last week...
I have had Brandon Fugel straight up. He's texting me on a daily basis now. And
okay, good.
That's what I was going to say.
The
There's a lot of that.
It actually looks more. the footage that you're coming up with is like, with the shadows and stuff that we didn't see in Skinwalker. But it's so similar. It's like it makes sense that you guys would be partnering up and looking at it, at least, sharing data. So can you tell me about the pet? Oh no, did we lose Terry? Oh no, he'll be back. Tell us a little bit of petroglyphs, because you know how obsessed I am with all this stuff and actually seeing some of them. Very few, because we couldn't go hiking, but oh my god, just feeling them and seeing them is a totally different thing. What is it about the swirls? And what readings have you gotten? Because I saw one of your videos and I now have an RF reader. Thank you, Carl. You've inspired me. I'm like going reading everything from the fridge to the counters. But tell me what you found on those. Tell me a little bit what you think the connection and a little bit of what you've experienced with the petroglyphs.
Yeah,
and the giants. Don't forget the giants.
Yeah, and the giants, definitely. The petroglyphs are really fascinating and intriguing to me for many different reasons and levels. Even just on the historical level, they're an amazing historical artifact of the history of people living on this continent and around them throughout the world, and they indicate almost a global civilization that we've lost or that we aren't aware of, or that goes by different names that may trace back a lot farther, or maybe even disrupt our current accepted timelines throughout history. And so that part of it is really fascinating. But with the petroglyphs in particular, you've got layers and layers depending on the different culture. Around here, I have a lot of Fremont people, Anasazi, which is also like Zuni and Pueblo. There's Hopi, Navajo, Ute. There's all kinds. But then you also, like I said, have the Spaniards that came in and carved stuff. There's places up in the Uinta Basin, if you know where to get to, that look like Viking ruins. If they were on the East Coast,
Whoa.
people would say they were from the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all sorts of different ones all over the place. Some that looks like Templar carvings. So they're kind of like historical. I hate to use this word because it dismisses the actual meaning and the depth and the power of the petroglyphs, but it's almost like a historical graffiti or comic books. And I don't like to use that word because it's not like teenagers going around carving these things. Once you fathom it, these artists were, some of the times you can follow their actual petroglyphs around to different locations and almost see where a particular glyph artist traveled. And they have a style, and they were masters of this. I mean, how they could carve into the rocks or do what they did up at some of the places they climbed up to, I have no idea.
You're the only person I've ever heard that made that connection.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so many layers to it. And I think that they not only tagged like their tribal symbols and directional things, like is commonly understood, like there's water over here and this is where food is and stuff like that. But honestly, rarely do I ever see depictions of daily life. I rarely see just villages and village people and animals and them going fishing or hunting. Almost exclusively what I see at all of these petroglyph and pictograph sites are scenes of villagers and animals, but going through extreme experiences or supernatural type encounters. The depictions almost look like alien encounters or out-of-body travel experiences and star maps or all kinds of strange stuff. And that's not what they put on the brochures when you go look to go on the hikes, right? It's almost like there's an agenda to hide the stuff, right?
Yeah.
But here's what's
Well,
even more interesting is you can take these devices like the tri-field meter and radiation sensors, and I'm starting to do this, and I've done this on video a lot, and certain symbols and glyphs seem to almost harness the electromagnetic field or amplification of these spiritual places into a real energy. And so I wonder if you sat underneath certain of these petroglyphs and meditated, if it would like amplify human potential to make contact or to communicate with other tribes, like a spiritual Wi-Fi system or who knows what. But that was really a curious part of my journey to try and find the mesa.
I've heard a lot of people try to tie this in with psychedelics too, but what they don't realize, especially about Utah, is there's no natural psychedelics that grow there.
Yeah, it's all more like the toad that runs around out in the desert that they get DMT from and peyote and stuff. But it's there's not a lot in Utah. Yeah.
And Carl, you've referenced a couple times native ancestors and the native tribes there throughout history. have you guys done any type of reach out to those tribes and maybe the elders, the eldest of the elders, to try to get some sort of, understanding about what these petroglyphs are telling us, or more about the land itself? I know you showed us the ceremonial circles. Mm-hmm. So I'm just very, very curious about what the natives have to say about it.
Yeah, I am in communication with several. I work with one person who is the state liaison to the First Nations people, and I also work with several others who are petroglyph experts that run museums and store artifacts and actually help collect data officially and things. And so a lot of times when I run into stuff or take photographs, I'll actually send it off to them. One of them up in the Uinta Basin for me is a gentleman named Randy Fulbright. He actually has a museum right there by where we had the symposium and where the convention center is. But you can go in there. But he's somebody that I a lot of times will send petroglyph pictures to get information from. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'll show the same petroglyphs to different people. And out of 10 people, I'll get 5 different ideas about what it could mean. And so a lot of that I have to just take with a grain of salt, and I kind of just take it with a bell curve of information. And ultimately, I just look at it and try to connect with it from where I'm sitting and what I'm seeing right there in front of the glyphs themselves, without all of that clouding my judgment a lot of times. And a lot of times when I just connect with the glyphs themselves and follow that around, I find a lot more than what I've been told. So that's what I go with. Yeah.
Well, what's unusual about out there, I spent a lot of years out there, is for every 5 people you talk to, you could probably walk into their house and 4 out of 5 would have just this massive collection of arrowheads and grinding stones, and they have stories that go back generations. The place is just incredible.
Yeah, I do have to say that it is federally illegal to take any historical artifacts or to even touch the petroglyphs. People tell me pour water on them or do a chalk rubbing or do this or do a plaster mold so you can bring them back. And all of that is technically federally against the law and very frowned upon by the local tribes. And so I don't recommend doing any of that or taking anything. What I take out of those locations, I take a lot of photos and videos, and then I take out a lot of litter and trash, but I don't touch anything else.
I'd have to say that the people that I spoke to that had the collections like I was speaking of, it either came off of A, their own property that they own, or B, it is something that their family had collected for generations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to have special permission or actually be given permission to take it to study it, or it's private land that you find it on or whatever, which happens a lot, the private land stuff. Yeah.
So we do have a question from the chat. Carnundrum, he's got some great stuff on TikTok. So have the rocks been tested? Radioactive vibrations, I assume it's also tri-field. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen, especially on those. I want to say portals. I want to try to get you to say it.
Portals. Yeah, I'll say portals. I'm not afraid. I'll say chi. I'll say portals. I'll talk about the woo. I'm not afraid of it. Yeah. I don't have any kind of degree or anything I'm worried about. I'm open-minded to all that stuff. Yeah, I've tested the rocks. I use a tri-field meter. I have a radiation sensor that I use. I have, what else? A REM pod, which is for ghost hunting. It's a temperature sensing radius thing. Night vision, laser pointers. I just ordered the EMF sensor. The most of what I get is off of the radiation sensor and the tri-field meter on the RF spectrum. So I'm getting the device that I just ordered thanks to selling the NFT and that NFT project. I was able to afford to order that. I'll be able to do more of the spectrum. Really, you're all trying to just get different devices to read the same vibrations of a reality from a different point of view, but it takes a lot of equipment to peer into those dimensions. And so it's wild, but it'll be good. I need to get all that equipment, and I also want to get thermal stuff. I want to see what it looks like with a good FLIR camera and more advanced military grade night vision and stuff would be very helpful. But yeah, and then tracking the timing to see if it has to do with satellites or something else. But we did have a strange correlation with like shooting stars flying over and then seeing lights on the mesa, and that was 2 nights ago. That could again have been total coincidence. But then again, we were experiencing amplified coincidence events all night, so I don't know. I don't know.
That's fantastic that you're able to do that and have the freedom to do that, and make sure you protect those people, because I think you had mentioned in one of your videos that was kind of like their show of the night. It's like their entertainment for the few people that knew about it. It's like it's just magical to them, and we definitely don't want to ruin that. So
that's the thing that makes me think, if it is like satellites just scanning geology, how do you explain that the prayer circle wheels, ritual wheels, line up for thousands of years on the mesa, and there was a village there and people worshiping this site or having, I don't know, like, how does it go back that far if it's like satellites? It boggles my mind too. Like we might go back tonight actually, but I'm so far behind on like how much data I've already collected. It's just like, but I want to go again. And just
how do satellites? How do we make sense of those shadow figures running across the mesa? So I don't think that's satellite.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's satellite. And why wouldn't you see it on the other hills around? Why wouldn't you see it on the surrounding environment? And why hasn't there should be cell phone videos or other night vision video of that all over the place and an explanation? Remember when Elon Musk launched Starlink and everybody started seeing it in the sky? It was like everybody was seeing it and reporting it and thinking it was UFOs. Why am I the only one and Brandon Fugel that has like this glowing mesa thing in an ancient Native American site? I don't get it. It's weird, man. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm really trying.
I can't wait. And hopefully you're growing your team, because most of the time I'm just sitting there like, someone help him. He's just all by himself. So hopefully
that's why when I saw that tweet from Brandon Fugel, I was like, whoa, now we're getting to the next level here.
Time. So Lynn Hurley has a question. Carl, have you ever tried an SLS camera out near the mesa? Wouldn't it be crazy if we could see a whole slew of spirits interacting with the mesa?
It described to me specifically what an SLS. I'm running on very little sleep right now.
I'm not sure what it is, so I'm going to wait. And Lynn, if you can tell us what the SLS is, it like?
I'm open to getting all kinds of cameras. I wish
you could ask Tim too. Tim's an optical expert.
I wish that when the phenomena appears on the mesa, I had 10 different kinds of cameras and a drone and 10 experts all standing around in different places to figure out what the hell it is. I'm so curious. I want to know. And if they don't know at that point, if nobody can figure it out at that point, then we've really got something going on.
Exactly. You want to share part of your presentation with the shadows, because there's a lot of people that aren't familiar with the project. So I want to make sure they're able to see. I know that you have your presentation, maybe show some of the, you've done so much out there.
Yeah, here, let me see if I can.
Comparisons with the headlights, just, let's make sure that they're caught up to speed.
Let me do this instead. If we want to do that, let me share this screen. I'll do...
Okay, Carl, we have a confirmation. Lynn says it is the camera that shows stick figures that could potentially be spirits. It's
yeah. That would be really weird.
Oh, yeah.
That would be super. That would be cool. I would be down to do that. The ones
That's the one that throws out all the dots, and then you can trace the figures in it, right?
Some of them will even trace the dots for you, so it looks like actual. It senses like a presence or entity based on the energy signal, and then it makes like a stick figure so you can see where
that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would do that, because even we would get it sounds crazy, but I just want to put it out, the information out there, because that's why I feel like I've got even a new name for it, like the amplified coincidence events. I feel like I don't even know if they're real or if it's just something that happens to your subconscious when you're in these places or what. But like, we're standing right by the medicine wheel, and down to the left, we hear what sounds like somebody like whistling, like for a horse. and then we all hear what sounds like a horse run past, but you don't see anything. You don't see, it's like a ghost horse.
A ghost horse from a different dimension.
Yeah,
awesome.
but everybody shares the experience. It's not like one person hallucinating. It's like everybody has the same kind of encounter. And I don't want to turn it all into like this ghost hunt thing, because it's just the mesa lights and it's this location, but I don't know. The amount, like the amplification of weird stuff like that goes on, like right when you're talking about a particular thing. Oh, it's wild. It's like being in a haunted house almost. What's that?
You want to? There we go. Now I was just muting.
Gotcha. Okay, so you guys want to see?
Yeah.
What do you want to see? The petroglyphs?
I want to see the petroglyphs. Those are those spirals that, oh my God, if I saw one of those, I'd go nuts.
Yeah, some of these give off energy. Some of these will give off energy readings.
How much?
Honestly, I don't know if I've even tested these ones. That's a good idea. I need to test these ones specifically, but
another one.
Did you test a 40-foot guy?
Which the big tall?
That's got one of those. It's huge, though. I don't know how you could get there, but
the painted pictographs don't seem to give off as many symbols. Here's what's weird. I've used my tri-field meter and radiation sensor the same last week in a place that James Keenan took me that was supposedly a haunted house. That was like a house that was built with like all kind of occult witchcraft stuff into the way it was built. And even when I put my sensors over like the pentagrams and stuff drawn on the floor, I was getting the same effect as some of these petroglyphs. And so I wonder if it's just something to do with there's certain symbols, almost like a circuit board would flow energy a particular way to transmit a signal. If petroglyphs or certain occult symbols throughout time actually harness the power of nature or distort reality in some way to shift things. I don't know. It's just a thought. But anyway, yeah, these are some of the petroglyphs.
Here,
can you hear the
I'm
audio
not
there?
Sure exactly what these symbols mean, but when you tie it and piece it all together and you realize that the mystery of Magic Mesa is right behind me here, you have to imagine that ancient people may have dwelled up here on the cliff sides and witnessed some kind of supernatural phenomenon over there on the mesa, and they were trying to tell people about it or capture the symbols and stuff that they've seen, and that now we are capturing on our night vision during our investigations. You can see up close how obvious it is that there's these swirl symbols, energetic symbols, like look, there's a portal or an open.
And there's like up this whole cliffside, there's hundreds and hundreds of this stuff, and they get weirder and weirder. This is just one down lowest on the hill close to the mesa. But these are like pretty normal compared to the stuff further up the canyon.
Or some
but if I showed those on camera, then a lot of people would know where the site is and figure it out.
The flowing energy, and forever everybody's just been saying, oh, that's just like saying, hey, this is where water is. Well, sure, well, there's water everywhere. It seems like it would have something to do with what we're witnessing over here on the mesa, and this is just like such a perfect lookout, and all the other petroglyphs that we find in this location are similar. A perfect viewpoint in which to witness the Magic Mesa.
Oh,
I think you said that the alignment is done a certain way, right? It's like you're able to see like alignment.
Yes, the petroglyphs are totally aligned with the summer solstice, which just occurred, and they tell an entire story of basically portals opening and interdimensional supernatural beings coming through and conveying power onto the shaman of the village. Yeah. Wow. That's what the story tells. When the light comes through the cracks on the rocks and passes over the petroglyphs, it tells a whole supernatural story of interaction. So
and again, it's similar to how everything aligns with the summer solstice and the equinoxes, and it's the same common theme across the entire world. So
I don't know why. I'm just telling you how it works and what's going on.
There's something to it. There's some
something
trick.
to it. I don't know what it is or why. Let's see. So this is when there's this weird ring of like bamboo or reeds growing around this cement circle. There's more backstory to this cement circle, but the story that I've heard is like really weird about what happened here, and somebody even dying. But I need to fact check all that before I start spreading that story around.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait on that. But this is us walking into the stone circle. This isn't the Native American stone circle. This is one that was poured here like in 1988. But it has this weird ring of reeds growing around it, and it doesn't belong. But Jesus, it's very creepy.
I mean, this place feels so creepy in the dark, man.
Yeah,
This is spooky. Like where these stones are. Man, it feels haunted, man. Doesn't this feel haunted? Woo! Woo! It feels haunted over here. Whoa! It's not just my nerves. It feels like a presence, does it not? This feels like weird.
There's like these weird ritual stones and all.
The energy in this place is, you're getting a pain?
right here. Yep.
I'm standing right between the stones here. Woo! The energy behind me is so weird. This place feels haunted as hell, man.
So Charlie got a bloody nose and a pain in his stomach. And then overnight, he bled all over the pillow and had to buy a new pillow and bed sheets. 2 nights ago, I took my brother, and I shouldn't have, but I took my son and his boy, and we just went and walked around there, and his son got a bloody nose in there too, and wasn't feeling good. So I don't know. It's weird, man.
Good heavens. This place feels very weird.
Charlie.
There's some heavy
I hate
energy
this here.
down here.
I love Charlie. We're big
There's
Charlie
just
fans.
some heavy energy right here.
And we can see the
So how
mace.
far out in the middle of nowhere was this, Carl?
There's something in this tree.
I don't want to say, Terry.
Yeah.
It just blows me away that it's
Something's moving around
concrete.
up
How
in
do you
the
get
street.
concrete out in the middle of nowhere?
It's not as out in the middle of nowhere, and I'd rather not reveal where.
Just
Yeah, it's
Don't
not.
worry
As
about
people do hike by it and have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I want to be careful. I don't want people to find it. Here, let's go do it. Let's skip ahead here to the phenomena. itself,
yeah.
so.
I want to see the
You're
phenomena
still
and the shadow people or the
The
shadows.
shadow figures.
Like,
Okay.
when it's a volcano. Oh, but it's
Sorry, this is just an ad playing.
Oh,
'Cause
okay, I'm like-
just
well,
on
last
YouTube.
time Terry was showing us his bullet that moved from one side to the other. So I was like, whoa, what's Carl going to show? There we go.
Right.
There's
Let's
that
see.
beautiful
Here, I'll get
metaphor.
to I think the shadow figures part here is in a minute. There's the meditation and consciousness
It
part.
gives me goosebumps every time I see this.
This
Yeah,
is-
it's weird, man. Let's see. Maybe this. Here we go.
It's spreading like a mud flow. Do you see that? The whole mesa is lit up. Now it's gone. Gone. The whole mesa is lit up. Now it's gone. Gone.
Oh, these little ads.
Yeah. But it's like something's walking across.
Yeah, and it seems to almost interact with the laser pointers. Like it'll almost sit there, and then when we're like, "Is there something there?" and you point a laser pointer at it, then it scurries across the bottom.
Your laser was perfectly
It's
on.
I like when you actually asked for a triangle. And
Yeah,
got a
when
triangle. That was
there's a whole
crazy.
section on the video just of that where it almost seems like when we request a shape, it makes a particular shape of light. I don't know,
It feels
and I've
like
been there.
lava.
I've been
It
there, and
reminds me of lava. When I
you
see
know what
it, I'm
you know
like,
what it looks like to the naked eye. I finally, like when I was there with my brother 2 nights ago, and he finally saw it, and we were trying to like, what does it look like? How do you describe it? You know, if you took like a rubbing alcohol and you light it on fire, and the way the blue flame glows off of that in the dark, the whole mountain looks like that, like a translucent, like an evaporative flame fog, but also like a, I don't know, solid plasma. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
He didn't know what it was either. Yeah, we couldn't figure it out.
I remember you testing like your headlights, the car and stuff. You went through all of those tests, and you didn't have the headlights on at this point. And were you just taking the infrared or the, just with the camera alone, or did you have anything shining?
Yeah, so this is all, like what you're seeing here is all just the night vision camera, which is, where do I have it here somewhere? This Psionics night vision camera.
Yeah, I've seen you post that one. Cool.
I have
See, right there you can see the shadow figure moving.
Oh, there you go. Ooh.
Yeah, that's the big one.
That was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh.
This is a replay of the same one, that big one.
Yeah.
It's this thing on the bottom
It's
here.
just like something's going across or something is being unlit. You can't tell. It's like, is it that the shadow's moving or is it that the light is shrinking? But something's definitely flowing. Something's making a change.
Is the light rippling? Like, is it just curling like a flow and making it look like something's crawling, or is there something there? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
But there's
crazy.
times when you see the shadow move off, where the shadows, the thing moving is darker than the ambient shadow on the mesa next behind it, and so it seems like a different object. I don't know.
See this? There's this
Than just the
thing
light.
here, and then there's something here.
So how long have you been doing the project now overall, Carl?
The first
Like
footage
actually
that,
being out there?
I mean, I've been hiking around on the petroglyphs up there trying to find where they point to for over a year. But actually filming the lights and the phenomena on the mesa has probably just been since the end of April. Yeah, wow. April 30th. So just, yeah, not very long.
What are those? Okay, what am I looking at right now with those lights in the middle? Like
those are, that was just another way that that it appears, where instead of being like a whole flowing wave like this, or like a whole sheet of energy coming down the mesa, it was like fingers. From where I was standing, it looked like people standing up behind the rocks and then crouching back down, but it was just like things made out of light. Like, it just looks like fingers of light poking up and then going back down out of the ground. So right here, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like little flames, and
there's almost like a wave behind it, almost like a ripple behind it as well. Yeah. Here's a slow-mo replay. You see like how they poke up, and there's almost like a wrinkle that goes up all across the hill.
Wow.
And then zoomed in. I know it's so pixelized. That's
wow.
the end of the video.
You also, you've caught a lot of sightings also. Is it in the same area as far as like I saw you doing CE5 out there, and you had a lot of captures of different things up in the sky, undetermined of what they are.
So hard to know if they're, most of what I've seen doing CE5 you could chalk up as satellites, or the most convincing one that I was like, wow, that I swear that's a UFO, was probably the International Space Station, honestly. But wow. I have seen, here comes another ad, sorry.
Okay.
But,
I got another question. Did you say you've done sonar or not? Will was asking.
Not sonar. James Keenan has ground penetrating radar and a lot of other stuff. And so we're trying to still arrange for him. He's part of my team. Chris Bartell is part of my team. I don't know if you guys know any of these guys.
Chris Bartell. Yes.
Yeah. So Chris Bartell, he has a lot of DoD experience. He worked at Nellis Air Force Base. He worked out at and around Area 51 for a long time. He's done a lot of stuff. He knows a lot.
He was on Skinwalker last week. Right?
He worked at
the Furious, yeah.
Yeah, he worked at Skinwalker Ranch during the Bigelow era as on the security team there, and was involved in everything going on there during that time. So, yeah, he knows if there's any truth that comes out about Skinwalker Ranch from that era of research, it's Chris Bartell. and his testimony and word. The rest is very confusing, very, very confusing. But yeah, he's a good friend of mine. And so him, Chris Bartel, the property owners and managers are good people. And then Paul Heineck is also helping.
I love him.
Chris Lato really wants to come out and also check out the Mesa. And yeah, Brandon Fugel and some of his scientific team. But again, I'm proceeding with great caution because of some of the ties, especially with, Travis Taylor just announcing that he is the head of ATIP. And so
I'm still coping
you don't know,
with that.
You don't know what you know. You don't know who you think you know. So I'm being very careful.
I'm going to do a retrospective on that later because I'm still coping with that, because I used to have a picture of him. I started watching Skinwalker years ago when it first started, the first season, and I had a picture of him behind me the whole time, and I'm like, ooh, wow, I wish I would have known.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll hang on to that one. But so what what's the next steps for you out there? What are you gonna, you've got a Mesa, you've got some strangeness, you've got equipment, you got NFTs. What's going on? What's next?
Specifically, kind of privately doing a lot of work with the team at Skinwalker Ranch right now. I'm doing ongoing research and work at the Magic Mesa project, trying to help raise the funding for research there through my Patreon and just subscribers and support on all my stuff. I'm a full-time YouTuber, so just watching my videos and sharing them is the best way to help me, honestly. I'm a filmmaker, and that's how to help support my work. And so it gives me better equipment and all that. So I've got it set up, like if people want to make a request like, hey, you need better night vision, or why don't you try this experiment, you can specifically join the Patreon that gives you exclusive access to tell me what experiments you want me to go do, and I'll go do it. And then I'll post the videos, as an independent filmmaker. But the next step for me is to really make sure where the Native American tribal boundary lines are, where I can actually go and where I can't, and who owns what of the land, so that I know what level of research I can and can't do without going to jail or getting hurt, so I have to do all of that. Yes. I don't want to tell anybody, hey, go hike up there and take a soil sample, and then I'm telling somebody to go either put themselves in a field of radiation and hurt themselves, or go to jail for violating tribal laws or something. So I'm just being really careful. And then along with that, I have a lot of very interested parties that are circling around the project right now that see the validity and the implications of the work that I'm doing and how much I've got going on with it, and that are going to come and we'll see how much access I let them have and what I let them see or whatever. But if it's the right people at the right time, then we'll just take it to the next level. But I'm exclusively right now working with James Keenan and Chris Bartel as my main team. I trust them. They're very scientific based, and they have more experience than anybody. And no matter how much I've thrown in their face, their integrity lies with the truth. It doesn't matter what anybody says. We want the truth. We don't care how much Scooby-Doo we have to do, if that makes sense. But yeah. So I like that.
I am so excited. Thank you so much for we're putting all your links on the chat, guys. This is a worthy project. Spooky and I have been following this and have been supporters of this. The fact that we have an interactive research team here is like we can actually talk, and he does ask all kinds of questions and great content that he sends to his Patreon supporters, and we can interact with him and say, hey, what about this? What about that? We're curious people, so I'm sure we're pretty smart. So I'm sure we can come up with some cool stuff. So if you guys don't mind, go check it out. When I need coffee, I'll ask you because I'll be broke soon. But for now, let's get a Mesa instead. I will. I'm moving to the country. I'll have my own eggs and chickens.
And so, honestly, here's the thing, Chris, is that I have so much that I do want to share that it's really easy. Like, for example, for all the inner circle on Patreon, like there's a whole ring of research involving somebody maybe already doing like witchcraft and occult stuff that might also be aware of the area and the mesa. I keep finding evidence of recent animal sacrificial stuff going on. And so it's almost like I have a creepy wizard duel going on in the area with some other person that's up there doing things around this location. So some of that, it's like not suitable for just general audience on YouTube. So I put that on Patreon because it's weird. It's interesting. Does it have to do with what's going on? I don't know. So it's there as like behind the scenes stuff that might help piece together the puzzle. Plus, you know,
we don't know what pieces fit, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So I put it all in there, and it's part of the story. Like that. That's like it's just all behind the scenes stuff and a ton of interesting things. Or if it doesn't fit for the general public, that's where I stick it on the Patreon. So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool way to do it.
Okay, well, can you hang out with us here for a few, because for a little bit of time, because we're gonna jump in. Lee's coming up soon, but before that, we're gonna jump into a new segment on Mindforked that we're gonna call
Time for Show and Tell with Akashi.
It's Show and Tell, and we're gonna do
some of the best graphics
with Terry. I get creative. I was like, I'm bored. I'm going to do a show and tell. So I am going to show Terry. Tell us a little bit. Just kind of set up the video. I'm going to show the full video, and then I'm going to show you have a video of an experience that you went through, and I'm going to show a couple of like one view that I found really interesting side by side. So can you set that up for us, and then I'm going to play the video, or do you want to just kind of talk through it?
Yeah. Okay. First disclaimer is excuse the French in the video because there's a lot of it. Because when something like this happens to you, you kind of lose your gourd a little bit. But I've seen orbs. I've seen a lot of orbs over the years. Never had anything like this happen. And it opened my eyes to how something like this can happen to somebody, and then you turn instantly into your own worst skeptic. Because I've been to the airport, I've checked flight logs, I've looked up tail numbers, I've talked to pilots, I've talked to the people at the control tower, and I'm still not convinced I saw what I saw, even though I've got it on tape.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and start playing that. I'm gonna try to turn down the volume on it a little bit so you can talk through it. But I actually love the reactions because that's usually where you can see a lot of stuff. And it's really dark, so you can tell us.
That's a fucking triangle.
Are you muted, Terry? I can't hear you.
Yeah, it was my fault. I was going down the road.
Now you're fine.
We live in a really small community. Matter of fact, it's not even called a town; it's called a hamlet. I was going down the road to get a 12-pack of Pepsi. As I'm going northbound down Highway 213, something in my peripheral vision made me look to my left, and when I did, it was right there. This big triangle, right there. So I grabbed my phone, and of course I'm bubble fingering on my phone on the floor, and by the time I get it up to where I could record, it was probably 2 miles off to my left. But what it did was it circled the valley. It went north to like a northeast heading, all the way out to the end of the mountain.
I don't know what the fuck that thing is.
And came back. Well, at a certain point when it was coming back, it went from a triangle formation to just this board.
Laser or something.
And it parked and just stayed there. And it was a white and blue flashing light to begin with. Then it threw.
Dude, what is this thing?
At a certain point, it was red, white, and blue flashing lights. And then it just shut off like a light bulb.
It was
as you can
circling
tell, I'm
the
still
valley.
speechless about it. I can't explain it.
I'm trying to see if I can forward it a little bit. because I have a good view. I took.
Oh,
I'm
and
gonna show you.
Chasing it
Yeah, I
around.
want to let it
what I
play.
was, I was chasing this thing in my truck. So you're going to hear a lot of traffic noise and so forth and so on. But this thing made absolutely no sound at all.
So there you're back in the parking lot, but look at this view, and I'm going to show the two views next to each other. The previous shot, because these were 5 different segments you sent me, and I just queued them together.
I don't know what it is. It's just sitting there.
Just sitting there. Now, where I was at, I was in a parking lot of a restaurant, and because it's that still, I could see there was a better vantage point. So I left here and went about another quarter mile down the road and parked. And from there, I just sat and recorded it until it just went and blipped.
Around the bottom of it. It goes from blue to white to blue to white.
I'm going to stop that one for a minute because I want to show. Look at this.
This is fucking crazy. Now it's just sitting still. I don't know what the fuck that thing is.
Look at the 2 shots next to
It
each
was
other.
huge. It was a big
This is
fucking
one
triangle, and now
shot
it's
where
just
you
back.
had the blue and
I wish I
blue,
had a
white, and
laser or
red.
something.
And over here, you got something very similar. That's.
If you'll stop that and zoom in
Those are
on
2
it,
different shots.
I know. If you stop it and you'll zoom in on the white and blue, you'll see above and to the left and right of it these little sparkly lights that just keep flashing. But you can only do it if you're scrubbing through the video. But like I said, I don't have any idea what this.
I'm trying to figure out how to mute the video.
Northwest, flipped around, came back on a southwest heading, and then just.
This is fucking crazy. Now it's just sitting still. I don't know what the.
I'm trying to show the video and mute it because people are having issues. Yeah, the video audio is playing through. I'm like, anyway. So, yeah, those 2 shots. You said blue and red, and it was like the blue and white light kept flashing blue and white, and then the red light kept like kind of flashing red in a lighter color. But you got it from 2 totally different angles in 2 totally different views.
I was let's see, I would have been south away from it on that first one where I said I wish I had a laser pointer. And then I would have been to the west of it, probably within a quarter mile of it. If I could have driven through a fence and through a field, I could have parked right underneath it.
And didn't you say you were going to go to the police stations and check for 911 reports in the area?
I checked for call-ins to dispatch. I checked for call-ins to dispatch. I've actually gone to the airport and talked to the flight controllers at the airport and find out what you need to do at night to get to key your mic to get these lights to come on. Because when you're coming to an airport at night, a municipal airport like we have, it's dark. And if you key your mic a certain way, it'll turn the runway lights on. Well, we've only got one marker light, and it shows directly the center of the airport. If you don't have some sort of GPS in your plane, you're not landing here at night. I did find out through Flight Tracker that there was a plane that landed 1 minute prior to me starting my recording, and he would have been to the south of me. So I traced the flight, looked up his flight number, got the tail number off his plane, went and met with the guy. He didn't see a thing.
Interesting.
I've had
that's
this.
what we're here for. We're
video,
sharing. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I've had the video sent to a couple of optic experts. I've had it sent to a couple of military individuals, and it all comes back to I don't know.
And that's what we're gonna leave it on today, because guess who's coming on next?
That's crazy.
Who's that?
Lee from First Floor Audio is here. Lee! You guys, Lee has, if you guys haven't checked it out, First Floor Audio has some great content out there. And his show on Saturdays is one of my guilty pleasures favorite things. I love to sit there and just hang out. You know, you got the whole team, and he's just playing songs. He'll play you a song. So, without further ado, Lee, welcome to Mindforked, buddy. You're on mute. You there?
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry.
Nice. Welcome.
Hi guys.
I didn't give you any heads up. I'm like, and here's Lee. Boom. Here's Lee.
No, I was in the other room as well because you said it was running over, and I kept dodging
know,
in and
I'm
out because
so
it gets very hot in here.
I'm so sorry, but I am so glad you're here. And Carl, this is Lee. Lee, I think you know Terry Hall and
Carl,
Spooky Morales
hi.
pretty well.
We know Spooky, yeah. Hi,
Hello,
Terry.
mate.
You all right? How you doing?
Play some jams.
What's up?
Let's relax a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's
but
shake
what-
it
I
up
mean-
like a snow globe.
I need to know what's the criteria really, because obviously when I go on my show, I forego the money because I'm not monetized anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you get a copyright claim if I do a cover version, right? But a claim
Yeah,
is not
I
like a
like your
strike.
originals.
A
like your
claim
original
is
stuff.
is not a strike. So you know all you'd lose is advertisement money for that video. And if you're not monetized, it doesn't matter. Not it's only strikes that matter, not claims. There's a difference between the two, and you need to read it.
Yeah.
Okay, then if I don't get in trouble, can I make
You
a
don't get in
request?
trouble. You don't get a strike. You get a claim. In other words, any advertisement money that you would make off of that video
I'm
would go
not
to the
monetized.
artist.
I'm not
There you go. You're
close
not
to that.
monetized, so it doesn't matter, does it?
But
So-
guess who I have here and what is his favorite song?
Go on.
Will I get in trouble if you play Linda? But everybody's
well, for a
looking for
start,
Linda. Come
well,
on. You got Spooky
well-
Morales here.
I'd rather not, but I'll do it.
Oh, no. If you'd rather not, I want to go with the artist because the artists flow. So whatever you feel like playing, Unidentified as Force on the chat, you can play one of his theme song. He plays theme songs for us. It's actually quite cool, Carl. Alien Girl's theme is the First Floor Audio.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can
Did you know
play
that?
that.
No, you can't play Alien Girl. I'm telling Carl because he knows Alien Girl.
I can play it, but
Now you can play whatever you want. Play one of your regular songs. Let me
well,
see.
thing is,
I
on my
already
show, I
played
do a lot of covers. I do a lot of covers now because people have got used to me, doing covers. So
You know what? I'm risky. Do a cover. Because Sunday jams.
I was not looking for Linda. Linda found me, hiding away on a slow train home. Is this one for Paisley? Oh, you got to help me. She used to work there a long time ago. She spent 35 pounds on one pack of ciggies, running on the errand for him indoors. Then she kept running straight down to Leeds Central. Took in the city, I left her inside. Looking out for Linda, never stop looking, never stop looking for Linda. Looking out for Linda, never stop looking, never stop looking for Linda. Looking out for Linda, was looking out for Linda. Linda was key. She'd been fighting fire water all that day. She said me and drinking means only one thing. Whispered that she was too polite to say. The train door was jammed, but the time wasn't right. Some guy was holding her back from the window. I said, a fireman, she said so arrogant. I will decide when I go or I don't go. I'm looking out for Linda. Never stop looking, never stop looking for Linda. Looking out for Linda. never stop looking, never stop looking for Linda. Looking out for Linda, I was kissing with Linda as Paisley came closer. She was a bad apple, master of man. It was such a connection. It's more than two things. I'll always be looking for Linda again. I'm looking out for Linda, the rain. I'm looking out for Linda. Don't stop looking, never stop looking for Linda. Looking out for Linda, never stop looking, never stop looking for Linda. Looking out for Linda, never stop looking. I'll never stop looking for my sweet girl. I'm looking out, I'm looking for the girl. Looking for the girl, girl. Oh, na, 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 na.
Woo! That
Nice.
was so awesome. That's
Thank
great.
you.
It's the best part about being human, that we have people who can do that.
So
I
cool.
know, he's so talented. Do you want to do one more, and then I'm gonna close the.
Well, did you
close
want
the
me, do
show?
you want
What
me
do
to
you
pick
wanna
the
do?
guitar? Do you want me to pick the guitar up, and I was going to do There's Only Now?
Oh yes, yes.
I vote guitar. Yeah, guitar.
Great Sunday, hanging out with my buddies. Got Cosmic Counselor, Spooky Morales, Carl the Crusher, and Lee. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. I'm just so excited. And a ton of people in the chat that are really excited about this. So I'm good.
I haven't played this one for a while, but it'd be fun.
Yes.
Can't wait till tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow never comes. You're still planning for the future, as if the future was set in stone. Live in the moment. The only time that matters is now. Time is an illusion. Breathing every second. The only time that matters is now. There's only now. There's only now. Those philosophies you rely on for all you build your hopes upon. Continue making conscious efforts to claim what's right when you see what's wrong. Live in the moment. The only time that matters is now. Time is an illusion. Breathe in every second. The only time that matters is now. There's only now. There's only now. That you've woken from this spell that you've been sleeping under, you find yourself and you are free. Live in the moment, the only time that matters is now. Time is an illusion. Breathe in every second. The only time that matters is now. It's only now. Live in the moment. The only time that matters is now. Time is an illusion. Breathe in every second. The only time that matters is now. There's only now. Live in the moment. The only time that matters is now. Time is an illusion. Breathe in every second. The only time that matters is now. There's only now. There's only now. There's only now. The only time that matters is now. There's only now. The only time that matters is now. There's only now. The only time that matters is now. There's only now. The only time that matters is now.
Nice.
Bravo.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Lee.
That was hot.
That was so awesome.
And we think it takes nerves to like share our experiences. Imagine having to do
Right?
that on a live stream, man. That takes
Dude's brilliant.
balls.
Brilliant. Yep.
He does it every week.
And that's an original
Cheers,
song
guys.
too, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my own song. Yeah, that's mine.
Brilliant.
I say my latest one. It's a year old now, but I mean, you know, in the world of records, it's my latest thing. So
That's my favorite, Lee. I love it.
you know,
You are
Thanks.
so talented. So I'm going to start wrapping things up and saying bye to people here one by one. So first of all, let's see. Let's talk to Terry Hall, the Cosmic Counselor. What are you up to next, Terry? Where can we find you? Tell us what's going on. So
Actually, I tend to stay in the rear with the gear most of the time. I do at times try to help people who's had this paradigm shift that they just can't deal with. If you're having that kind of problem, you can reach out onto me on Facebook. Just direct message me on Facebook. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm an ear you can bend or a shoulder you can lean on.
Oh, you're a great resource.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Terry. And he's also, I'm going to put the info in the video because he's also on Twitter now. Terry, it's out there. So we're going to put that out there. Thank you so much. I will see you backstage here in a minute. Just hang in there if you can. Next, we have, I'm going to put Spooky up here. Spooky Morales. The lovely
Akashi
Spooky.
Chris, thank you
Who's
so
next?
much for having me. Yeah,
dude.
we're on the same team.
And we didn't even plan this. It's like twinsies. We didn't even plan.
Mm-hmm.
So what is going on with you next, Spooky? Thank you so much for being here. It's just been a pleasure.
Oh, this has been amazing. It's made my whole week. You can find me, as always, on the Chad Smith podcast every Tuesday and Thursday. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, or 7 a.m. Pacific. And also on the Paranormal Chop Shop on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific. That's where we get a little wild and crazy. And that's where I'm hoping we can talk some RC cars with Carl the Crusher soon. I'm going to have to beg him in the backstage.
I can feel the bromance happening. I told you there was a bromance. Didn't take Christodamus to figure this one out. He'd be like, I love Carl. Akashi who? I love Carl.
You know, if I could just say one more thing about Carl, just so everybody in the chat knows, Carl is not only about the paranormal and about, what we've talked about today. He has got the most amazing young boys. He's got the best family, and he's the greatest dad. And he does videos and has been doing videos on YouTube for a long time with the family. And he's got them all up there. You can watch him and his boys doing all different types of stuff. But my favorite are the RC cars they build, and then they take them out to the deserty areas, or sometimes they even do them right there in the driveway of their house. But it is absolutely so much fun and so entertaining. So this guy is like multifaceted. You got to check his channels out.
Oh, thanks, Spooky. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Amen, Spooky, because I'm right there with you. Okay, so we'll talk to you in a minute. I'm going to put you backstage. Next, Lee, First Floor Audio. I love you so much, Lee. My intro I just love it so much because I love that song. So tell us where to find you, what's going on with you.
Yeah, obviously it's in the name here. So yeah, First Floor Audio on YouTube. You can find me. You can follow me on Twitter if you want. Not that you'll get a lot from me, but I am on there, and occasionally I post depending on my mood. But yeah, that's it. And every Saturday I play live. I usually write a record, say a record. I write a piece of music, whilst you watch, as you know, Chris.
Yeah,
but,
I know, it's fantastic.
Depends how busy it is. Sometimes it never happens because I'm too busy singing to people.
Oh, he will sing you a song dedicated to you, makes it up right there and then he writes the song while he's singing songs and he's singing covers, and it is fantastic. So I'm going to put that link out there. Lee, bless you, my friend.
Do you want me to sit in the back or do you want me to go?
Actually, I stay in the back. I'm going to put you in the green room because I'm going to play just a short clip of our next UFOCM, which I had to prep. So just hang in there. I'm going to be right there.
Go for it. Well, thanks for having me anyway. Thanks for listening, people.
Thank you, darling. Thank you so much. It's been perfect. And then there's two.
Just
Carl
us. We've got the place, got it all to ourselves now, Chris.
Dude, the fact that you came on my show, it's this is my second live show. The fact that you took the time, Infernal, to discuss symbology, it just means the world to me. So I'm so grateful that you were here today. So tell us where to find you. I mean, everybody's gonna know because I got your links all over the place. But tell us what's going on next.
Well, thanks.
Where'd you go? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love all that stuff. It doesn't put me off. I'm into it all. I'm into Göbekli Tepe. I want to know what you know. If you've spent more time digging, I'm curious about all this stuff too. So, yeah, I'm into it. I just feel like I'm among friends, and I found my people finally. So, it's great. Yeah, I want everybody to be able to come and see what I've seen, and to know what I know, if you're an experiencer, or if it fits in or whatever. So I'm just doing my aspect of the research, and I'm also, pulling back a lot of curtains and flipping over rocks, and I'm debunking a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of discoveries along those lines as well. I've got a podcast coming up on my Carl Vibe podcast. I'm going to work out with Chris Bartell and maybe a couple of other people to maybe help bring some of the truth forward about things going on up in the Uinta Basin, and also all my work and project on the Magic Mesa and how it coincides with things that are going on up there. And so I have a lot going on. I wish I could talk about all of it, but stay tuned. A lot of big projects. Yeah, I'm in that zone now to where I'm one of these people that everybody gets annoyed with, because now I have to be careful what I can say and what I can't say, and I'm not used to that. But I promise I will always tell the truth. I'm not gonna be a useful idiot for anyone. My commitment is with the truth, not with any kind of agency or organization or anything. So we'll see. I'll try to get to the bottom of a lot of mysteries, including my own research project at the Mesa. So yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere. Just keep track there.
Yeah, and we're going to put all your links, make sure that that's all in the video. So thank you so much. I know you're super busy, and the fact that you took time to be with us today, it means the world to us. So thank you. I'm going to put you backstage. I'll be right there. I'm going to say goodbye to the team. You guys, wasn't that kind of cool? Did you guys like it? Because I totally want to know. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But just really tell me if the kind of stuff that you want to see on the show. Again, like I said with Lee and musical guests, if you are interested in sharing some of your art, some of your music, some of your talent, please reach out to me. You can find me. I'm going to have all my info out there. I'm always on Twitter. You can find me, obviously, YouTube. You can email me. I am on Discord. Send a raven. I don't care. Just find me. I'm sure you can. So also, let's see that. So that is for the musical guests, and I'm gonna see us off with a preview of our next guest at the UFOseum, which is Andrew Pierce. Thank you so much for joining me today. Do not forget, we are migrating, folks, in a little while, in about, I think, 25 minutes, right, Anthony and Andy? We have Unidentified S4, so please go check them out. And peace, man. This has been lovely to see you guys. I'll be back in about 3 weeks after we move, and I'll just come up with a cool surprise for that one. So stay tuned. So I'm going to let us out with a preview of our next artist in Night at the UFOseum, Andrew Pierce. Thank you. Love you all. Peace.